I do.
Would you like to have, like, say, a sip of water, maybe resettle, and then we will, because a lot of us really wanted to learn more about your experience, so that will definitely facilitate our learning. Yeah. You want to take a
First of
moment?
all, yes, of course, of course.
All right. Yeah. So, um, just share with me, Lorena, just now in that 30 minutes with our coach. What was your overall experience like?
First of all, I want to say it's my first time of an experience like this, and it's wow. It's absolutely wow, and it's like full of those aha moments. And the most important thing that I'm taking away from this conversation is the feeling that I have deep inside me. It's like I communicate with myself in a different and in a different way from a different perspective, and it just fulfilled me. It just made me complete. If at the beginning of the conversation I was having stones behind me, I was feeling everything behind. Now it's like they all vanish and like forever, and I just want to stick to this feeling of
Wow.
having them vanished.
We
It's
can
really wow.
literally feel that energy and that
Yes,
excitement or that empowering feeling you're experiencing, even at this moment.
yes. And just one more thing, I really feel, because when I don't know if it has any connection, but I want to share. When I started the classes, I was very fast in deciding. I will make them. I was very fast in deciding to make them, to attend them, and the thing that made me feel it's a very special and different kind of classes is this word transformational uh, approach. And I really felt it. I feel it. I felt it also in the classes, and now even more on my own skin, let's say. Yes, it's absolutely unique,
Okay.
something else.
Right. So, talking about this excitement, there were two moments when the coach offered these two words at two different junctions of time, right? So, one is being responsible, and the other is
Hmm.
this spontaneous. So, both of these, when the word land in this space, you actually had a very big um, relationship into these two words. So, if you could still recall for everyone, how was that two moment like? Is that different? Is that the same? How does it play around in this entire journey of the coaching?
If I understand correctly, the impact that had the two shifting moments, responsible versus uh,
Spontaneous?
responsible and spontaneous. I felt like an explosion from inside. I was like a volcano that just come out ready to show and ready to give what it has inside, but it was like covered until now. Covered of all this, covered of the other perspective, the commitment perspective, the organized perspective. And now we just came out by switching and changing and seeing the other perspective of the.
It sounds like if we put it in a gentle way, these two words had the two keys opened up the chest, the
Mhm.
box that had been sealed for a long time. But if you want to be more explosive, that these are two bombs that actually break up all the stones was covering you, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Right. So Lorena, I'm also seeing you are a person very vivid and lively and has a lot of positive
Mm.
energy as well. So I'm curious, How do you feel in your personality that the coach is supporting you in this journey, in helping you um, still be who you are, but facilitate this transformative process?
Uh, Actually, very easy because uh, even though I turn back to the classes, even though they say that the heavy things is on the client's shoulders, I never felt, not even for 1 second, that I have like a heavy job, because it just helped me through everything, through the attitude, the tone, the way of putting the things, the moments when he spoke. It just helped me bring out all this change. It just went very natural, very too natural.
Okay, yeah. We really appreciate this space that you're still who you are, that same lively, energetic, powerful person throughout this
Mm,
process, while you're
yeah,
also experiencing this sustainable and lasting transformative change. So, I
yeah,
have one last question for you,
yeah.
because in this coaching journey, there are several moments that the coach was inviting you to pause,
Mm-hmm.
slow down, and there was a part that the coach would say like, hold on there, maybe, I mean, we want to still be with you. So how would you see that these moments allow you to recenter, realign back to the coaching conversation, help you to continue this transformative journey?
Uh, Frankly, I will tell you exactly my thoughts in those moments
Yes,
were
please.
like, yes, I know I'm very fast. I speak too much, or too I'm like on Formula One racing most of the times. Yes, I know. And when he was saying like that, yes, touchdown, you touch me on this bottom also. That is one of my things that I have to work on, like learning to listen, learning to settle down. And I was thinking at that, and in the same time, okay, I have to do that. I need to do that so that I can have the best of this conversation. And the third step was how good it feels to be more, even though it was not something that came in naturally and by my own, by me, but from me, it came like from outside. I felt it like, the third step. Yes, it's nice to be like this, like
Wow.
settled, like in a pause, like more not so explosive.
Wow, it's beautiful you
Yeah.
put it in the way like the space are created so comfortable and calm so that you are also bring yourself into this space and facilitate this learning. Wow. Right, thank you so much. I know that we actually have a lot more questions, but we know that the time, we're mindful
Yeah.
about time. We also
Yeah.
wanted to give the space for everyone else to
Yeah.
learn and also to uncover their curiosity as well, because
Yeah.
there are a lot of new things happening in this coaching space. So we will open the space for more sharings. Thank you so much, Lorena. You can stay with
Thank
us,
you.
or if
I
you
will stay
wanted
as long.
to enjoy your holiday. But thank you so
Yes.
much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. I
Thank you,
will stay a little
Lorena.
bit more.
And
Thank you so
Joyce,
much.
I have run the Mentimeters already,
Yes,
and there's a contributions on what stood up for people, for our friend here. So will you be able to read it out for us as I share the screen? And
absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah. So maybe you can continue to put in your insights and also your observations as well. So we have several inputs, capturing the words and replacing them with others to find a whole new meaning. an amazing shift that happened in such a short time. Exactly. How the coach managed the shift, playing around with words. Amazing, yeah. So, coach unique approach to change clients' perspective, the deep shift and the liberation that the client experienced when her self-concept shifted. The power of reflecting and offering, indeed. Seeing mastery in real time, always. The focus on the word lack was the game changer. Exactly why that lack. Really wanted to understand why the coach picked on this and left out with the word consistency. This really stood out for me. Yeah, maybe you can bring more about this question later for the learning. Offering the client new words, the slowing down of client thinking to reflect, and offering by coach impact. The focus on who Lorina really is rather than helping her gain consistency. Well, this is one of the tough questions, but make a lot of difference in this. Introducing new words to Lorena to see how they landed, the coach's manner of making aware the coachee of the need to slow down talking. The words introduced by the coach for the coachee to reflect on how powerful it is to create a new perspective through unpacking the meaning of words. How coach started by picking word lack. Yes, again, the coach offers some very sharp observation at the beginning about the client fully aware of her presence, then offers some other perspectives as well. Yes, the coaching to the who and not the what. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, Ben, what would be the next for a better learning experience for all?
Well, great. So let's have everybody turn on the camera. Would that be good? Wow. And friends in our attendees, please join us in the panelists. We love to hear your voice and have you be part of this dialogue session because there's no right or wrong way to do coaching, right? If there is kind of like a standard question to ask, well, I think AI can do a better job than all of us, right? So coaching is more than just asking questions. It's about our own individual capacity, maturity, creativity, common sense. I mean, all hard work in learning the science of what the nature of things is. And it's out of the combination of all this, your understanding, your knowledge, your experience and some common sense and also who you are, that you use all that to make sense of what people are expressing. Isn't that so interesting to witness that, yeah, we don't really know what we are talking about, as in we don't really see ourselves in fullness and in totality. We can only see part of who we are. Not that we are blind, not that we do not know my personality, my characteristics, but we are not able to witness ourselves as an actor or actress in a drama. But we are still doing things day to day, but we are the actors in the stage. And henceforth, we don't have that perspective of how an audience witness us doing the drama. And that perspective does not change anything about the story. Do you understand this? It does not. It only gives more perspective and insight, a deeper appreciation of what the drama is. The drama is still the drama. Nothing changed. My favorite movie, Titanic. Nothing changed. But the more we see Titanic as an, as a audience or watch the movie of Titanic, we begin to appreciate the power of love. Okay, right? I mean, it's a different perspective. And I think that's what makes coaching an art and a science. It's not about us asking questions because I think it's very useful for me as a coach to ask this. Now, our questions is in response to us witnessing something, making sense of something, and using a certain science of what you think change is to help you to bring about change. Your concept of change is going to be the key game changer. Because if your understanding of change is to fix something around what people is not comfortable, then your process will be a reflection of that understanding. Do you understand what I mean? Like when you think about love, uh, Can you remember how you think about love when you are 10 years old versus when you think about love when you're 16 years old, when you are 25 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old? Can you see? The concept of love did not change, but deepened as your experience of love informed you what your concept of love is. I'm so sorry, I'm talking too philosophically because been reading too much book over the last few weeks. Okay, so my encouragement to all of you is, yes, there is a space in our learning as a professional coach where we learn techniques, but you know, there is a truth that says grow up. Don't be like a baby that is only capable of drinking milk. Okay, it's time for us to take solid food. I'm a Chinese, so I prefer eat rice or noodles, not hamburger, pizza, and fries, which I ate for last 3 weeks. We're so desperate for noodles that we are so contented when we have a cup noodles. We was like, oh, cup noodles. So it's time to grow up whereby we take heavy stuff, and I think that's where the next generation of professional coaching is going to be. Okay, coaching is an industry and we will progress, and now we're at the verge of integrating science into practice, and that will make coaching more solid rather than um, I coach because I'm certain age already and I got so much experience, so I can coach you. Right? I mean, there is a place for experience to come in, but we're talking about an industry where we are committed to advance human potential. And we have to some point consider the role of science in the work that we're doing. Cool? Great. So what I'm going to propose today is that we're not going to break out rooms. We're going to have a free forum because I know some of you got a lot of questions floating in your mind and say, you want desperately an answer to those questions. Okay, so I'm going to open up for a dialogue. But before I do that, I would love to have our faculty members, a couple of you, to be able to share some big idea or insight, or to draw out some learning, from today's case study to help our students to understand, hey, how is today recording, today conversation a reflection of our ACC framework or our transformative principle, so that students can match and say, oh yeah, the form can be differ, the form has to be different. Right? Because each of us have different maturity and different understanding. How we apply a certain knowledge is going to be different. It cannot be all the same, right? So the fundamental is always a fundamental, but the form can be different. So today what you witness is an artful demonstration of the principle, which is a fundamental that you have learned, depending on which level you are in your training. Okay, so I'll just invite our faculty members to do the hard work to pull out this learning for our students so that y'all can map it and say, oh, okay, this is how the fundamentals are being demonstrated in a artful manner. So we have a lot of faculty members here. We got Joe, we got Melina, we got Anne-Karine, we got Azadeh, we got Piangsu, we got Evan, and a lot of. So go ahead, anyone who feel that you have something to
Can
share. Go ahead.
Can I
go ahead.
start?
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if it really answers the question. Hi, my name is Milena and I'm calling in from Germany. But I just wanted to first open the floor for others with sharing my feelings about this conversation. And I don't know, guys, if you have seen the movie Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise. But the client said now, even when reflecting, that her speaking or her way of thinking was like formula racing and the coach calmed her down. Whereas my feeling about this conversation is that the coach calmed her down and then told her, hi, I'm Tom Cruise, get on my jet and we are flying over 10G in a safe space. Because basically the conversation was like 25 27 minutes long, but so comfortable. And yeah, I had the feeling the coach took, in fact, the speed or the way of being that the client has and just went with it, just in a different way. So that was really beautiful. And this is my experience from today. And I give the floor to others.
Something that I found was, for those people at the core level, everything that was done today was underpinned by what you're learning. And, you know, early on, Ben talked about the challenge. Excuse me, I'm a little cold here. He also was able to take the client so artfully into a gain frame.
Yeah.
And as we are all students, to be able to hear how everything at the mastery level is underpinned from the core level to the advanced level to the mastery level. And that's why it's so important that we continue to keep our learning going, because it never stops.
Yeah, can I make an add-on to Joe? What we have listened today is a very good example for all level core training. You can see a very good example of, you know, positive side. And the second level is about using the competency, which is, I think today is very obvious, is active listening or listening actively,
Yes.
right? Picking the words.
Yes.
And the third level, offering. And that, you know, everything just in this one conversation, which all level can understand it. And for the guests, I'm not sure that we have guests here. This is a very good example for transformational approach that is different from, I don't know, others, transactional. And this is a good way that the coach can bring the client to look at in the being level, not just the behavior level.
Yes,
so that's
true.
what I have impressed in this conversation.
Wow, thank you, Piang-Su. So we witnessed the transformative shift principle number 1. What is that? I'm very scared to ask what is that because I think we should be doing the online examination like how ICF did it. You know, kind of like you don't pass the online exam, you cannot get the certificate. So the first transformative shift principle, direct the mind towards what is possible and positive. Today you witness how the word direct is being demonstrated in the 27 minutes conversations. And it is not only just directing, but it is also maintaining, containing, contain the space for the mind to remain, you know, in positivity and possibility. And the word positivity and possibility are two different words. And you can see the interplay of these two weave throughout the entire conversations. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what big deal about this? Well, number one, we can see how the science works. The game frame allows the mind to be more creative. Now, consider today's case. Clients is stuck in a long-term behavior that has, wow, I mean, it's more than 20, 30 years, whatever that is. Definitely, when anyone who talks about those habit that is not serving them, that creativity zone is not going to be very huge. So, I mean, if you stay on the loss frame, or you try to do resolving, or you tackle consistency, which is very closely associated with the negative element, right? Even the word consistency sounds so positive. Who doesn't want to be consistent? And consistency is a good value. Of course, as a word itself, it is positive, but remember, we have to consider it in the client story. In the client story, consistency is not a game frame. So far, so good. Henceforth, I mean, wow, we learn in core training, isn't it? Expand the mind on what is the expression of goal. The expression of goal is to be consistent. Think about this. If you ask the client, what makes being consistent important to you? What happens to the back of the client's mind? It amplifies what the client doesn't have. Do you understand? Because consistency is something that the client don't have. Yes, in the story, the clients tell you, I want, no, I'm lack of I lack of consistency, therefore I want to be consistent. I want to be consistent. But that's not the expression of goal. This is just a challenge that belongs to the topic level. So today coaching conversation is not about a lack of consistency. A lack of consistency in the scheme of the element is a topic. What about this topic that needs the client's attention so that this conversation can bring about positive change? Do you remember that was what the coach set it up at the beginning? And that's the first time, I think, for those of you who have been with me for many years, this is the first time you see that this technique is being implemented in the conversation. It is not just, okay, what is it that you want to talk about that is meaningful? You can see that today, the setting of the client's mind is a little bit longer. And the choice of the word is always forward-looking. Explore meaningfully, so that you can now use that to bring about something positive and meaningful to the change that you want to see. So the change that you want to see is not about changing something, but it's like, what is it that you can create more of? What are something new here that you can bring forth? So by just weaving in that subtle theme of forward looking, we gradually shift the client's mind away from something so ingrained and struggling around the topic. So far, so good. And then you can see how the evolution of this is a change that I want to change, to this is a challenge, to this is a possibility of something else. The clients in between introduce words like a problem, an issue. Then the coach reframe that and say, oh, this is the challenge that has been with you. This is a part of who you are. So it becomes like, hey, it is not a thing, but it's just something. Just something. Can you see? So when we are able to loosen people's grip, I mean, when people are not so closely attached to their problem, as in problem situation, okay, when they're not attached to the problem, then the possibility of seeing what's there opens up for us to invite something to come. That's why we call brainstorming, right? Brainstorming, how do we do brainstorming? Don't limit yourself with what can be or cannot be. Just throw everything out. Stop thinking about the current context, what works or what doesn't work. Stop thinking about that. Just throw that away and tell me what comes to your mind. Can you see the different dynamics that will happen if we do that for our brainstorming sessions? The same principle now apply here. When we are able to help our clients to detach away from their problem, can you see the client is so attached to a lack of consistency? Even when we ask the clients to talk about what's your concept of lack, the clients still come back and talk about, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this. That is normal. Okay, that's normal. But that's where science can come in to make a difference. Now that we know this is how it works, then we use transformative shift principles, create a process that constantly directs the client's mind towards what is possible and positive. And those can be done by, not, of course, in core level, we teach you only one syntax. What would you like to see happen? But again, that's the starting point to drill a system into your mind. And as you become familiar with this system, we can then apply additional, skill set like your choice of words. You try to bring in choices of words that is more empowering. You structure your sentence as in, doesn't sound negative. How is this challenge not a reflection of who you are as a person? Is talking about something negative in a slightly positive way rather than challenging the client. How is consistency, not who you are? I mean, how is this not true or true? So when you're challenging something, then kind of like the mind collapses. So far, so good. Great. So these are all additional application that you can add on to the principle of what is possible and what is positive. Cool? Great. So maybe we invite one more faculty member to share, and then we open up the space quickly for a time of dialogue sessions. Good. Great. Any faculty would like to use this opportunity to share something to our audience?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sharing.
Oh,
Then,
good.
what I really loved was that the client, the coach really picked up really well that the client has been telling, the same story to herself over and over and over and over again, probably using the same words to
Yeah.
herself over and over and over again. And that's why I really thought the offering of new words
Yeah.
was especially powerful. Yeah, I thought it was really, really beautiful and artfully done.
Spot on, right? This is one very simple process technique. Of course, there are other techniques that's available to help clients to rewrite the story, but I'm personally not comfortable with rewriting. It's rewriting has that connotation of us changing something, for the sake of something better. Well, it is true, but I prefer the concept of what is it that we can invite here into the story. Okay, so it's not changing the existing story, but just bringing something into the story. You know what I mean? So that also had the same effect of allowing the client to rewrite the story, but now the rewriting of the story becomes the end result. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of like more comfortable with. I'm not saying that rewriting people's story is not good, but it's just like personally based on my own practice, I felt more comfortable to invite and welcome something into the space, partly because I believe in the power of emergent. Okay, unfolding. When things unfold and things opens up, the power is much greater, than us just rewriting something. Yeah. As a dad, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I just want to add something in terms of this, let's say, extending the language.
Yeah.
It's almost like, using imagery in this sense is that sometimes we just lack another word, or sometimes it shows itself and we can't think of another image. But I think what makes it powerful, it's beyond rewriting. It's a deeper and different understanding that has emerged.
Yes. Wow.
The way that the client was understanding her situation and seeing herself in the context of that situation
Wow.
has now shifted.
Wow.
Her understanding of herself has extended.
Yes. Wow.
So this is what makes it so powerful, is that the word offered, which happens to be a very connected word that resonates, really opens the perspective in the mind beyond the current way of thinking.
Yes.
It allows for the client to see things differently, connect things differently, make a new meaning of how she's been seeing things.
Wow.
And this is what is really exciting.
Thank you. For those who have completed the advanced training and those who are in the third level training, now you learn another new things about metaphoric language. Words can be a metaphor itself. So the two metaphor that used today is responsible. Second, spontaneous. And then the coach turned that into being responsible, being spontaneous. And then at the ending statement, the coach rewrite the statement, being spontaneous in a responsible manner. Because the clients love the word spontaneous more than, but responsibility is a value, right? It's a value that you honor. So in a responsible way now, it doesn't have, it's not heavy anymore. It's just being spontaneous. Yay! But in a responsible manner. And then the rest of the coaching conversation on your choice conversation, you can have a few series of coaching conversation to sit down together with the client. In this particular situation, how does responsibility shows up here? What's the best way to demonstrate responsibility? How can you express that in a way that is spontaneous to who you are, and at the same time using the tapping onto the client's maturity to put some sense of rightful things to do. So in that way, we still manage, the best of the two worlds. Okay, got it? Great. Louis, let's open up for dialogue. Go ahead, Louis.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see everyone again. Hi, Ben. Thank you very much. And if I remember correctly at the beginning, when you exploited lack of the system, and you kind of gave a range of definitions, I had a feeling that already there was a shift from loss to a bit of gain frame, and that opened the door. Did I understand correctly?
Yes, yes. Based on my field work, I just noticed that clients do not often pay attention to the first condition, which is lack. But the clients, most clients, I'm not talking about today clients, but I mean based on my research work, when I'm researching on people's relationship, I said people relationship, when I'm looking at transcripts or recording, when clients use the word like lack of something or something of something, right? So I'm very curious to see, hey, where does the mind actually focus, right? But you think about lack of consistency, how many bullets do you have? 2. One is a subject matter called consistency. The other one is lack, which tells us about the relationship the client has with the subject matter, which is consistency. So technically speaking, that's a verb. I do not have consistency. So far, so good. Interestingly, today, the word is lack, therefore it can be easily translated as verb and subject matter, but there are other variations, okay? There are double adjective, okay? So just be aware of that. But one of these things was what I've discovered, and henceforth, it's very clear based on what we have learned in core training, expand the mind for understanding for verbs. Verbs. What is verb? Remember the format that we taught you guys? You plus verb plus subject matter. And the verb here is how is the client relating or responding to the subject matter? So the way the client's story is telling us about her relationship to this subject matter is being ambiguous, lack. Right? And what we are trying to do in the process here is not to ask for an answer. What are you lacking? No, we're not asking for what are you lacking. We're not asking the clients to define lack. We're asking the clients to offer us understanding. In your own story, in your own experience, what is it about consistency here that you are struggling here? So that story can be invited by just asking the client, hey, tell me what's this whole thing about? Now, because the word lag, what do you mean by lag? The word lag is a very concrete word that is very hard to clearly define, right? And also, this is a very ambiguous question. What kind of question is this? What, I mean, what do you want me to tell you about lag? I mean, I don't have this. What else do you want? So most clients' mind are not ready to process this inquiry. So henceforth, you need to offer certain kind of like scaffolding for the clients to step onto, or just help the clients a little bit to bounce up. So you give example. Okay, when you say lag, are you telling me that you don't have? Or that's where the clients get the clue. No, 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 no. I actually have something. It's not that I don't, it's not that in my entire life I cannot do it. So that's where the story comes. What we are interested is about the client way of experiencing this subject matter through this very interesting word called lag, which in semantically now function as a verb that tells us about the relationship. And we're just asking our client to have an understanding around it so that we can now mine for more meaningful data of how people is interacting with their own experience. And that's where transformation is most powerful, in experience and not in facts. Got it? Good. Yeah, high five. Is this too much for the day? Okay, yeah, okay, I've been having too long vacation. There's so much in my mind. Maybe I'll just invite Ivan to say something first, and then maybe another students who might have an interesting question, then you can just pop in there. Okay, Evan, would you like to offer a couple of pennies of thoughts for our friends?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Lorina
Yeah.
will. Evans, can I just let Lorina to go first because yeah, she's on the vacation, so I just let her go first and then you can follow after her. Lorina, go ahead, Lorina.
Thank you so much. It's just that I cannot leave the session. I have to, but I cannot. I just want to say one thing that I hope I have the ability to observe it well. As a student, not as a client, I felt like there was this emerging, this like a dance between the coach and the client, where the coach, I mean, everyone and the coach and the client was coming one towards another, and it came out all this magnificent session where the coach was asking the question and the client was saying, and then the coach by listening and being aware of the conversation and focusing and being there into the conversation was bringing out of the client all the research that the client was having, just um, not like a bounding, like a very good association between the coach and the client, that in the end, I think it's like what a session needs.
Yes.
A dance, a perfect dance between the client and the coach, where everybody's coming one toward the other.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lorena. I'm going to share something that I think I've not shared that, and I think that's very good for those students who are still in the core level. Okay. I mean, we have been delivering this training for many years to many batches of students across the globe. One thing we noticed, students hate it when we ask them, I hear three things, follow the structure. You, verb, subject matter, 10 words. They literally hated us. Seriously. They said, what a stupid way of teaching people to coach. It's now you need to understand this is a drill. You know what is a drill? A drill that you drill your kids when they're young, that you do not do this, you do this instead. Brush your teeth when you wake up, it's first thing in the morning. That is the first thing that you drill into their system. And then eventually they just continue to build the habit, right? So when we start to learn a skill, we need to have a drill because you don't have the skill. The dance happens not because the coach is like, oh, the coach is not like Joe, so compassionate as a person. The coach is a very dictator. Get it done fast. Why are you not getting it? Very forceful guy, right? But yet the dance happens not because of the personality of the coach. It's because the coach can make sense of the inner thought of the client and reflect it back in a way that allows the clients not to pay attention to the noise, but to the essence of their own voice. So in other words, the client is connecting to herself through the mirror of the coach. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? To achieve this skill set of capturing the essence of people's inner thought, we have to train coaches to first learn observation skill, which is, students hated us when we told them 10 words. But capturing the essence is not summarizing what people say. Okay. So in order to stop you from summarizing, we had to force you to say only 10 words. Now, because you got only 10 words, what will you do if you are a good student is that you try to pay more attention to what is under the table because you got only 10 words to talk about it. So you are more deliberate intentionally to look for things to say because you got only 10 words. My wife loves to bring the entire wardrobe to vacation. And yeah, and only half of them has been, Oh, for me, I just want jeans is enough. She said, no, you must have something to wear for the show. You must have something to wear for the city. You must something to, I just need one jeans. I can wear that for 30 days or 1 year. That doesn't matter. That doesn't bother me. Right, man. So because we got only limited words, then we are very intentional to look for something. Then we support you with elements. Now, element doesn't appear on the table. You had to mine for it, right? So when you're able to observe the element in a short expression, you are learning the skill of making sense of people's inner thought. Once you're able to acquire that, then as you practice more of that, then you can go around it without introducing a lot of noises into your reflection. And henceforth, the clients will naturally hear their own inner voice. And that's where the dance happens. Got it? Great. Now, Evan, would you like to offer a few thoughts? And then maybe thereafter, if no one has any thoughts, we'll just have another one faculty to close it. Good. Louis, just hold on first. Maybe we have Evan to go first, and then we can have you next. Evan, go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Ben. Today was such a lovely example of when we're listening to the client, not getting drawn into the details. So the details here were very juicy. They were very alluring for us to want to concentrate on all the big words, that kind of thing. But notice that the coach here observed got the main topic sentence or the topic subject matter, but it's the verb attached to it, the relationship to that the focus was on. Notice the mindset from the client going from very detail oriented coming into more of their own perception. That's just such an important skill that we try and teach at the core level, which we never lose throughout our coaching mastery.
Precisely. Thank you, Evan. Wow. So this is what we call a science-based approach. It's not based on how you feel like it, why you pick that particular thing to inquire, why you pick that, because I think it's nice. Consistency is a good word. What would you like to envision about consistency? Okay. Why do you want to pick consistency? Well, because it's a good word. Everybody likes consistency. It's not about how you feel about it. It's what is the basis of your inquiry. Why do you go in that direction? What is it that you hope to achieve from that direction? And what makes you think that will come out if you inquire in this way? What are the conditions that you have considered? So these are what we call science, right? Good. And therefore, your approach will be more an informed approach rather than as it comes, it comes. It doesn't come, blame the client. We got stubborn client. Cool. Great. Luis, will you have the honor to be the next one, and then we have one of our
Yeah.
faculty member to close the sessions.
Very shortly, I wanted to share this. After many months of your wonderful training, really, I followed the WebEx sessions, you know, the summit, the pre-summit sessions.
Wow.
And I mean, this reflecting back, framing, nobody does it. I mean, from what I saw, and I said, wow, and I understand now. It's very hard, I mean, to learn, to do it well, especially the essence, the abstract, as you say. However, it's amazing. I'm also, you know, testing and using it with my clients. It's so powerful. So thank you so much. And I think it's something really unique. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I want to invite Manju to share. I think she just can't help it. Manju, go ahead, Manju.
No, I was just thinking, I mean, adding on to what Louis said, it's as our role as a coach is to help the clients see what they cannot see. And if we don't frame the content and just because I, like Louis said, I've been to several other sessions as well, and it's all about the questions, but it is not about the questions. It's about framing the content back, because without that, the questions are not as powerful as they can be. So today was a great example of evoking awareness through that framing, then the pause, and also the powerful questioning. But also one more thing for people who have just done the core training, you know, in module A, we talk so much about the mindset of the coach. And that for me is kind of like the foundation for the building. And if that foundation is shaky, everything else is just going to collapse. So today, that mindset of we coach person and not the situation. And that was beautifully demonstrated. So thank you.
Thank you, Manju. I can't help it, but just to put things in perspective. I'm going to use metaphoric language to talk about it. I love Europe. And every time I go to Europe, I just don't understand why they need to have so many kind of spoons when it comes to eating food. Okay, I mean, I'm a Chinese guy. All we need is just chopsticks. Even when we're drinking soup, it's just chopsticks. That is good enough. Right. Why do we have so many different spoons? What my point is this. Okay, different spoons are used according to the European culture, they are used for different kind of dishes. One for the salad, one for the soup, one for the main course, and whatever that is. So they got the whole array of different utensils for different dishes. So in the same way here, it's not about that we should not focus on questions or we should focus on framing. No, those are just like utensils. It's all about whether are you eating in Europe or are you eating in China. Okay, but all you need is just a pair of chopsticks and that's it. Oh, okay, at most a spoon. Okay, and that is good enough. Okay, so it's a matter of what are we dealing with? Now, like for example, if we're dealing with helping people to deal with workplace situation, and there is always place for that. Like, in workplace coaching where you have a junior staff who are struggling to get their job done and they want to be able to coach on increasing their capacity to do their job. And in those contexts, then the focus on a right question to ask might be a little bit more powerful or useful or meaningful to enable them to use logical thinking to tackle a situation. And kind of like using more concrete thinking, but a little bit more high end in terms of second loop and double loop questioning technique. So that's where we need to learn questioning techniques. Okay, just like a lawyer, they are very good in asking questions. Okay, good. So that's where questioning technique might be useful to expand concrete thinking around situational context. Now, if you are into the space of, let's say, for example, I coach CEO, or those people that doesn't have to bother about operational things. It's all about perspective. Then it's like going to Europe for dining. That you have to now focus on the different aspect of things, like this is dealing with perspective, this is dealing with this is this. And that's where framing, learning to capture the content is more critical here. Is that a fair statement? Okay, so you just have to figure out as you are position yourself as a coach, where are you heading towards, right? But eventually, we all know professional coaching are more leaning towards the science of change in advancing human potential, and that's where the big market is, or that's where the industry are more power up. Got it? Okay, is this a good place for us to say bye-bye to one another, and then come back again in the month of July, where we're going to introduce in the month of July brand new continuous enrichment program. That's why we have shifted the word called continuous professional development to continuous enrichment program, because we're going to have other learning webinars that helps you to increase your knowledge on the practice of coaching, like coaching leaders in workplace, how to set up a proper contract, how to coach someone to change behavior, and da. So we're not going to talk about competency. We're going to talk about very practical things in sharing experience, how we manage cases. Cool. Okay, great. And we still have our live coaching demonstration, but it's kind of like what you call that in New Zealand, adding the icing on top of the cake, right? Is that how you call that? Okay, and then put some sparkles around it and some Nutella and something like that. So we're going to add some icing on top of the cake to make your learning more enriching. Cool. Great. So with that, bye. See you back again tonight at 8 p.m. Yes, Linda Cherry is going to be the coach for the day. Take care, everybody. Bye.